So why do you think Kylian Mbappe's move to Real Madrid is a bad one?
Well, as we know, Kylian Mbappe is on the verge of moving to Real Madrid this summer, with Fabrizio Romano tweeting that. And I don't think this is a great move. And the main reason I think this is a terrible move is because his preferred position is left wing, right?
Yeah.
He loves playing out on the left. And we've seen him publicly state that he hates playing up front for PSG. But they got Vinicius Junior Real Madrid. So is he going to play left wing over Vinicius Junior? Well, that wouldn't work out, would it? But then that means you have to play him up front. Now then, you've got an issue because Mbappe has got an ego, right?
Yeah.
He's got an ego about him. As big as Real Madrid are, he'll think he is as big as a club because that's just the way he thinks.
So he thinks he'll just walk in, I'll play left wing, no one else,
and
no one makes any claims.
This is the thing, if the manager plays him up front, most likely Ancelotti, if he plays him up front, he will, I guarantee he will come out publicly and say that it's disgraceful because he did this for PSG. So the only way you can sort of accommodate to Mbappe's needs...
Playing Vinicius up front.
...is possibly playing Vinicius Junior up front, but I don't think that would work.
Yes, it does seem a problem because when you think about it, they got Bellingham in the sort of 10 position, this free run role, and he looks excellent there. And they have Rodrigo and Vinicius as the narrow forwards. So technically you could play Vinicius up front in a way because he's playing as sort of an inside narrow forward at the moment. Not as a striker, not as a lone striker, but as an inside forward, which is almost sort of a hybrid between a winger and a striker. So maybe Vinicius, if you did shift him a bit more in and played Mbappe out wide, he might not be as bothered. But I know what you mean. Vinicius, he wants to cut off that left-hand side.
That's where he's best
so
at,
does Mbappe. And I know Mbappe is a better player than Vinicius, but you're not going to just disregard Vinicius. He could go and excel elsewhere at another top club.
Definitely.
So it would seem silly. So I think the only way to accommodate them really is probably playing Vinicius in an inside forward position and then just play Mbappe as a wide player and let Mbappe almost have that free run roll out wide like Bellingham does centrally, but out wide, and just say you can cut in, you can almost sort of rotate with Vinicius, maybe you're up front, sort of at one point Vinicius is out wide, you can move around and almost have that sort of fluid attack. And Real Madrid play with a fluid attack at the moment, they're not rigid during attacking play, so maybe that would almost help Ancelotti integrate him in and almost let Mbappe know that we play with a fluid attack anyway. You're not going to be fixed to the left-hand side.
Yeah, that could potentially be the case, but if Mbappe isn't to like that, or if they do go for that, then perhaps that could actually cause a tactical issue in terms of if you end up having like a, for example, 4-2-4 formation.
Yeah.
Then you have two in midfield. Well, where's
Bellingham go? He likes to make these marauding runs.
Maybe he'd have to go more as a striker, but then the problem is you've got a little bit too much free roam there. And I know these players are fantastic, but you still got to have a set system. And you can't just say to Bellingham and Mbappe and Vinicius,
play wherever you like,
do what you want, because it's just not going to work.
But the fluidity will help, though.
Of course, yeah, the fluidity will help, and I'm not saying it wouldn't, but I just think that for the midfield, the two in midfield, for example, and just the team chemistry, having them two just constantly rotate around, as much as it could work, there's a potential chance that it definitely could work. There's a definite chance that it could not because the chemistry wouldn't be there. Just the fluidity between the players. It would take some time to get used to, put it that way. Like if Mbappe comes in and they do play that kind of style where it's very fluid in the attacking areas, then if I was a Madrid fan, I wouldn't expect it to just click just like that. Like you'd have to give it a lot of time.
And it's the egos. I know Vinicius is not a big character, but Bellingham, Vinicius, Mbappe, they all want to be the main man. It's also worth a mention that Tchouaméni has excelled as the lone DM this season, and if you're playing with a two in midfield, you're not going to have a lone DM.
No.
And Real Madrid at the moment are playing really well with Tchouaméni as the lone number 6, and the Real Madrid players who are more forward than Tchouaméni are allowed to express themselves freely with less of a defensive worry because of him in that position. And also Real Madrid have a lot of midfielders: Kroos, Bellingham, Valverde, Camavinga, Tchouaméni. If Modric sticks around, and if they're all fighting for two positions, you're going to create a lot of unhappy faces. And in the attack, apart from Vinicius and Rodrigo, there aren't really many starters. And if you're having to fill in 4 positions, then you're going to look at signing more attacking bodies. So they're in a bit of a predicament there, and Ancelotti's going to have to sort of tailor the system to Mbappe because he's that good. Ultimately, you do.
That also leads me to another point. Do you want to fix what's broken? Do you want to fix something that's not broken? Sorry, like Real Madrid are fantastic at the moment, and they've got a really good.
Do you not think he just is an exemption because he's that good?
They all get along. There's great chemistry, and if Mbappe comes in and with that ego, that's what also can help him be a success at Madrid, because we see the best players do have an ego. But it's also what can be the downfall, because the players that have left Madrid, the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, it's due to their ego, and they've fallen out with Florentino Perez. And Mbappe, we don't know how quickly we don't know how quickly he could fall out with Perez, because as we know, he's not the easiest to get along with. Like, you really have to just cater everything towards him, and then that
he believes he's that good, which is good to have, but it's also a detriment to others.
It's what makes him so good, but it's also what can help, or not help. It could also make Madrid fail. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it could contribute to Madrid becoming worse because they just completely tailor their system around Mbappe, and that could end up causing a lot of issues, and especially in terms of the other egos that Madrid have in their squad, like Bellingham. Are they going to sit there and think, all right, let Mbappe, he can do whatever he wants, let's just let Mbappe.
Considering the impact Bellingham's had, he must believe that he's an important figure in this team.
Bellingham would believe, even with Mbappe joining it, he is the best player in that team. Like he's
and Vinicius would probably think the same.
Yeah, he would, exactly. So that's the thing. You've got a lot of egos there at Madrid, and the squad right now is in great harmony. So having another ego, and not even just an ego, but a massive ego in that squad could cause a lot of issues. And I think Mbappe, with the ego that he has, actually, a move to the Premier League could actually help his career, because you look at who he's competing with, right? The next generation is Mbappe versus Haaland, right?
Yeah.
And Haaland is currently in the Premier League right now. And you know, when you look at the likes of Ronaldo and Messi, I'm not saying they're on that level.
They're playing in the same league.
They're playing in the same league, and it's what drove
where
them
would
to be so
Mbappe go?
competitive. That's the thing. That's where it's an issue, because I don't know where he
Liverpool
can go.
can't afford him. I don't think Liverpool would sign him. Personally, I'd like him because of his quality, but not because of his character in the
I
dressing room.
don't think he should go Arsenal either.
I don't think he should go Arsenal. One, I don't know whether... I think Arteta's a good manager, and I think Mbappe's a brilliant player, but he doesn't seem like he'd fit in the Arsenal setup for some sort of strange reason.
Arsenal aren't a calibre of club that should be signing players like Mbappe. They're not.
But I know Mbappe, they had Henry, and he was arguably better than Mbappe, but when he joined, he was a lesser player, wasn't he? I mean, he was developed.
He was.
He doesn't want to play up front, and Arsenal need a striker, and although he's a lot better player than Martinelli, if you do put him out wide, would it upset the camp? Because this Arsenal team feel like they thrive off being together, and they have a togetherness and an ethos about them. I know we talk about this a lot to do with lots of clubs, but it's very important that you have a team that all fight for each other. And I feel like having an Mbappe at an Arsenal, like the same with a Liverpool, wouldn't really work. No, it wouldn't really work. Real Madrid seems the most viable option because they deal with the egos all the time. They deal with these Galactico superstars. But aside from the Premier League, why I think it could work at Real Madrid as well is we've seen Ancelotti develop his game and develop his managerial style over the years. From whatever team he's been at, he sort of plays a different system to accommodate the players he has. And we saw that when Bellingham came in, he played with Bellingham in that 10. No one expected him to play with Bellingham in that 10, almost as that second striker. Everyone thought we may see him as a midfielder like we did at Dortmund. Yeah. So maybe if Mbappe come in, he'd have a trick up his sleeve that he'd pull out, and then everyone would go, ooh, I didn't see him playing Mbappe there. And then maybe Mbappe would flourish.
Possibly, yeah. And I would be inclined to agree with that, but the thing is like, with Real Madrid, it's the only club where you can't say, oh, the manager's, or they've signed him, so the manager must have a plan for him. Like with Liverpool, under Klopp, you'd be like, oh, they're signing, like, if Liverpool signing this player, Klopp must have a plan. Like, they'd be like, people might be confused, someone like Nunes, they'd be like, why have we signed him? But Klopp must have a plan. Yes. Same with Arsenal and Arteta, same with Pep and
So you think Real Madrid, they just sign these players naturally, and then almost they're forced to accommodate them?
At the end of the day, Ancelotti's just told, like, listen, you got this world-renowned player, you got to make it work. That's exactly what Perez likes to do. He likes to sign the global superstars. That's why he signs the best players in the world, the likes of Bellingham and Mbappe.
To attract the audience, to attract attention.
Because he wants all the sort of limelight on Real Madrid. He wants Real Madrid to be the biggest club, the most famous club, the best club, everything. He wants them to be everything, which is why he will always sign the best players out there. And it's why they signed the players like Ronaldo in the past, players like Bale, because these players at that point in time were one of, if not the best player in the world. So that's why he loves to just sign these superstar world-class players, because he just wants Real Madrid to be the best, which isn't a bad thing, but it's also what can be a detriment to someone like Ancelotti. But then again, Zach does make a good point. Ancelotti is good at dealing with these kind of players.
And different systems and developing new systems.
That is true. Like, that's a very good point to raise.
And maybe that's why he stayed another year, because maybe Real Madrid thought we better keep Ancelotti, because if we're bringing in someone like Mbappe, we don't want a young manager who's inexperienced and Mbappe who thinks he can take advantage of.
Yeah.
If Mbappe comes in, as much as he has a big ego, Ancelotti has a pedigree as a top coach, and Mbappe will listen and respect him more than maybe if they brought in someone who was like a Xabi Alonso, who although looks to be the next best thing, and I want him at Liverpool, is maybe a bit more naive and inexperienced and has less of a knowledge and an understanding of dealing with egos. Well, look how new Xabi Alonso is to management in comparison to Ancelotti. He's been at Bayern, Everton, Real Madrid. He's been at countless clubs. So.
Yeah, he's been a fantastic manager.
So I think he's the best suited and the best equipped to deal with someone like Mbappe.
I would agree with that. I think him and maybe Zidane are on that level in terms of dealing with players like this. But in my opinion, I just think Real Madrid have gone one step too far in terms of signing these fantastic
players.
Do
you think Mbappe would have been good later down the line? Or do you think because of Vinicius, Mbappe should have stayed away from Real Madrid?
I just think it's...
Or do you think it's just too many variables?
I just think Real Madrid they've got so many players, superstar players as it is. And the main point is the fact that Vinicius Junior plays out on the left-hand side. So when you've got Mbappe coming in and he doesn't want to play on the left wing, he doesn't want to play up front. He wants to play on the left wing. You've just got yourself a massive issue. And even if they do this like rotation, one, like we were mentioning earlier, that could cause a tactical issue. The team might not be used to it. And two, Mbappe might not even like that. And as we've seen Mbappe with his ego,
Yeah.
He thinks he's as big as Real Madrid. Like that's just the way he thinks. As we were saying, it's a detriment, but it's also what makes him so good. And that will just cause a lot of issues. Because if you've got Mbappe just talking about Real Madrid and like just talking out against the club, that just causes all sorts of issues, and that causes complete discontent in the dressing room. And then that could be the downfall of Real Madrid. And in my opinion, I think
the downfall of him.
Or the downfall of him, yeah, exactly. And I think, in my opinion, there's a chance that could happen, because I just don't see it just truly working when Vinicius Junior is on the left-hand side and you've got Mbappe who only wants to play on the left wing. Like, I just think...
I see your point, but
really
I just think
that
Ancelotti will just pull something out. You just pull a rabbit out of the hat. You'll pull something out of nowhere that you would think, how on earth has he managed that? Because I think if a manager of his calibre, he'd be able to resolve the situation. And I think he'll think to himself, we've got a player like Mbappe on our hands. We don't want to create tension in the media. We want to make sure that this man excels. And if he is given the license to play in the position he likes, if we can fit him into our team, and if we can have the players around him, not accommodate him, but play to his strengths, then we could win serious silverware. Because although he's not the level of Ronaldo or Messi, in my opinion, he's that sort of player in this era.
Yeah.
He's the man that can be the best and be
he
the
probably
standout
is the
candidate.
best player in the world, in my opinion.
When he's at his best, he's firing all cylinders.
I think he is the best player in the world. Yeah, he
probably
is.
could say so. Yeah.
And I know it sounds very stupid to say that Real Madrid shouldn't sign him, but I just think it's such a
you make a fair
risk.
point.
Listen,
but
put it this way:
it's
it's
too
a
many
high
variables.
risk. It's a high risk, but it's a high reward.
Yeah.
It's a high risk in terms of what they're doing, but if it works, Real Madrid could go on and win loads and loads of trophies, and they can completely dominate Europe with Mbappe.
Especially with the other young players, Camavinga, Bellingham, Vinicius, Tchouaméni. The list goes on.
Yeah,
yes, they've been struggling with injuries in their back line, but once they address that as well. And it's also worth a mention that Barcelona have had a salary cap to, I think, around about £174 million now. They did have one, I think, in September last year, but it's been decreased again. So they're having to offload players this summer in order to sign new ones and to accommodate the new salary cap.
Yeah.
So they could lose key players like Lewandowski, Gundogan, maybe even De Jong, Araujo, to try and obviously accommodate that salary cap that's been implemented onto them and put upon them, really. So Real Madrid and Barcelona, the disparity, the gap can just widen. As we keep on reiterating, there is a chance that Mbappe's time in Real Madrid may not be a long one. It may not work out for him.
Unsuccessful.
Yes. So what do you think would be next for Mbappe if his stint at Real Madrid didn't work out?
Well, listen, it will be tough to see where he goes from Real Madrid, because obviously you're not going to want to leave a massive club like Real Madrid.
An institution.
Literally, it's the biggest club in the world. But I do think if Mbappe actually doesn't work, I think it could turn toxic, and it could turn toxic quick, because the Madrid fans, as we know, they don't take too kind. Like, you can be anybody and you can be the best player in the world, but if you're not performing, they will have a go at you. We've seen we've seen them do it with Ronaldo. Like, Cristiano Ronaldo himself has been slated by the Real Madrid fans, so they don't take no prisoners. They demand expectations, and this is the issue with this signing happening. Is if Mbappe doesn't work in terms of the system, and Real Madrid completely change their system for Mbappe, and it doesn't work, or it's just not doesn't work, but say it starts off slowly, the Madrid fans will get impatient.
And they could get impatient at Ancelotti as well, because he's not getting the best out of a star like Mbappe.
Exactly, and that's where you have a very toxic situation. But then again, where does Mbappe go from there? Because there's a big question in terms of, if it doesn't work at Madrid, I don't know where it'll work, because he ain't going to go back to PSG, is he?
No, he's not. Comment down below your opinion on Mbappe's move to Real Madrid. Do you think it's the right one? Do you think it's the wrong one? Do you agree with Harvey, or do you agree with me? Or do you have your own opinion altogether?
Get them in below.
Yes, comment down below. Like the video if you have enjoyed this discussion and this debate, and subscribe for more content just like this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.